Bangla channel. Amra নিরপেক্ষ নই.
Hello, welcome to Bangladesh Weekly Roundup. Today is 5th March 2023. Actually, we were supposed to hold this and upload it on 3rd March, but due to unavoidable circumstances, we couldn't do it. And so we are doing it on 5th March, but we will cover the week which started on 26th of February. And this week and 2 or 3 days together, that's 8-9 days, we will cover. But we want to cover it in a little bit different way. We will today pick one subject from all to speak a little bit in more depth, and others which caught our attention, we would like to say one or two things. So from 26th February, there was the road marches of Bangladesh Nationalist Party, and over 100 people were wounded, injured through the violence, as we have been talking about, as the same story with police and ruling parties, workers. We talked about a student in Islamic University. We talked, and that Islamic University student's case was resolved very satisfactorily for the student. On the other hand, we also talked about medical students in Chittagong Medical College, and there was no resolution for them. So according to our last news, they still didn't return for their classes in the medical college. Still there is, the torture rooms are there, nothing has happened to them. So the hostile environment for the general students in our universities, in their dormitories, continues. And so then the other news was regarding the Adani Enterprise has continued. The Adani Enterprise events, even though it is a company of India, because it has a big contract in Bangladesh, so it becomes an issue for us. Right now, the Indian Supreme Court has going to start an investigation. This is a very good news for the people of India and Bangladesh. I would hope that Bangladesh's High Court, the higher judiciary, will pay some attention. I'm sure they are paying attention to what is happening with the federal judiciary in India. And our judiciary, I think, may consider, if they want to, follow the path that is being shown by the Indian Supreme Court, or they will continue the past ways in which people of Bangladesh did not get the justice they deserve. In India, another thing happened again, which is very important for Bangladesh, because Bangladesh has been, the perception is that the ruling party of Bangladesh has been able to stay in power through rigged elections in 2014 and 2018 because of direct support of Indian government. So India's ways has been considered the best way by the ruling regime, the bureaucracy of Bangladesh, both military and civilian. I would like to draw their attention to what is happening in India and the way the Supreme Court has also gave their decision regarding formation of the Election Commission. That may be seen as that the political air is changing. The political air is changing. I wanted to talk about a speech Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had given on February 27th. I am covering this speech. This speech was given to the BCS officers to utilize their innovative power and talents in building a smart Bangladesh. I picked this story because bureaucracy is a very important subject to me. I used to be one. And also that it touches on many things on which I have a lot of interest, and I think I can add a bit. So the Premier was addressing the certificate awarding ceremony, closing ceremony of the BCS Officers 74th Foundation. She said that she described the fresh officers as the soldiers in the implementation of the 2041 Smart Bangladesh. And vision that as they will go higher in the post that they will do, she called them that the country had witnessed a radical change in short period and asked the new officers to continue this development trend. It is on this bureaucracy what Sheikh Hasina has said many good things to our BCS officers. I want to say something a little bit different. I hope that the BCS officers have had a foundation of knowledge, character, and understanding. With that hope, I would like to say that our officers might be of high caliber to begin with. They might have good academic background. But the system is such that bureaucrats can never become leaders. That is not the job of bureaucrats, to become leaders. The bureaucracy, think about it. In the British Raj, the face of British Raj was the English officer. For good or bad, it was the English officer. If you see any picture of British Raj period, of the the British and the Indians together, you can plainly see from the emaciated look of the Indians what it was the effect of hundreds of years of colonial rule. The Britain of at that time, what was the face of Britain at that time? The face of Britain was not the government officers. The face of Britain were the aristocrats, were the rich industrialists, the thinkers from Oxford and Cambridge, artists, politicians. It is only through diversity and free thinking that dynamism can come. Bureaucracy is about conformity, control. It is about risk aversion. How was the bureaucracy created? The rulers created the bureaucracy. How did they design it? Every person who works for the despot, let's put it that way, is going to be turned into an atomized form. Bureaucrats are atomized. Policeman is atomized. They are isolated. They will be used by the government, and if they have any problem, they will be alone. Atomized persons, as this authoritarian leadership tries to turn every person into atomized persons, so that they cannot collaborate with each other, so that they cannot talk to each other, so they cannot empathize with each other, so they cannot build a beautiful home together. If we think about bureaucracy, the ideal state of bureaucracy, just wrote it down, few words. 5, division of labor, rules and regulations, hierarchy of authority, technical qualifications, and impersonality. Bureaucracy is very impersonal, and it has been stated with the rise of scientific revolution that impersonal decisions are the best. Nothing could be further from the truth. We are not robots. We are human beings. Passion is a good thing. Passion is where our bodily intelligence is trying to tell us something. They know actually much more than us. This impersonal look makes us, how it affects us. To explain that, I will like to talk about a book. Ian McGilchrist has written a book called The Master and His Emissary about our neuroscience. In that he's talking about our left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. In everything we do, our left hemisphere and the right hemisphere is there. But there is a different approach to these two hemispheres. The left, first let's talk about the right. The right has a general understanding, general outlook, alertness, vigilance. It sees the whole. It sees context. It's embodied. Music, art, spirituality, all are the domain of the right hemisphere. On the left is sequential logic, language. It is disembodied though. It is schematic. When it is our analytical brain. When we analyze something, we have to reduce it. We have to analyze a country's topography. We use a map. Map is not the topography or the territory. So that way, we reduce it. And then we break it down to few parts. And then we compare those parts with different events, different other concepts, similar concepts. Because we do not understand just without comparing. For last 200 years, or actually since Renaissance, humanity has depended more and more on its left hemisphere. I'm trying to condense something which is 300 pages long, I think 400 pages long, into 2 minutes. So I'm not doing justice to it, but just a way to whet your appetite. I hope I can create some interest. That the left brain, we have depended more and more through our scientific materialism. Through every topic we have turned into science. And we have lost the depth. Because without emotion, we have no depth. And so, everything looks good on the paper, but nothing looks that good when we come face to face. Bureaucracy is to maintain the status quo. How can they be leaders? In Bangladesh, whatever achievement has happened, 1971 war, the remittance success, the agricultural revolution, the garment success, nothing happened because of the bureaucracy. That is not to denigrate the bureaucracy. Please, don't take it that way. Bureaucracy has a different job. And what job bureaucracy had, I'm sorry to say that the bureaucracy had failed. I know that bureaucrats have to work under the government. The country has to go on. But when the elections were rigged, at that time, I think, bureaucracy or bureaucracy's exuberance to maintain this illegal regime, that was wrong. That was immoral. You have to carry out the order, I understand. But I hoped a little bit more resistance will be there. You can see today that all the institutions have been destroyed. One person sits on top of all. And I know that the beneficiaries of this government, they more or less all, or at large, quite a bit, they want to continue. Maybe they do. They're merry-go-ways. But I think our bureaucracy has behaved like the bureaucracy of British Raj, minus the competence, minus the loyalty to Constitution. Otherwise, our record is not very good. This is a time for introspection. Times are changing. I hope we find the right way. Thank you. God bless you.